All righty, welcome back for another episode of 2 Point Sports. Today we have an emergency podcast. Believe it or not, Oklahoma has landed their first 2024 commit in Jeremiah Newcomb. Brandon, Jose, did you ever think this day would come? I think some people were thinking that OU was going to take 0 commitments in this 24th class. What do you think?
They were definitely pacing for it. Didn't seem like it was ever going to come, but it's finally here, boys.
No, it's finally here.
Williams Nary and Nigel Smith. That's all. I'm telling you, that's all we want in this class. The rest of it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. So the first commitment came on March 25th. But before we talk about Jeremiah, we're going to be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Apple, Spotify, and TikTok. Everything's linked in the description below. This weekend has been going really well, obviously. I mean, getting your first commitment. And Jose and I will be recording another podcast. That'll come out Monday, talking more about the weekend in general. But let's just talk more specifically about Jeremiah Newcomb. Brandon, what do you think OU's getting? It seems like that we barely even talked about Jeremiah, and then before we knew it, he was committed to this 24K class. What do you think?
Yeah, our boy Parker Thune just tweeted about how fast things moved, and if he were to guess on who the first sooner to commit in the 24 class, he would have guessed like 80 people before he would have guessed Jeremiah. So it just shows you how fast it moved, and with Jay Blay doing a real nice job there. Jeremiah Newcomb has really, really good ball skills. He's a kid that plays receiver, defensive back, and special teams. It's a theme that it seems all of our DBs have prior experience at receiver too, and I think that it obviously bodes well for them when the ball comes their way. They can intercept it, they can make plays on the ball, they can return it. He's dynamic with the ball in his hands. If you watch his tape, he's also instinctual. He's blowing up plays in the backfield. He sheds blocks pretty well for a guy who's not the biggest yet. I think if he bulks up a little bit, he's at 175 right now. If he gets to just, 190, 195, and just that natural growth and stuff that happens when you're still in high school, I think he can be a real special player. It's going to take some time, 2 years down the road maybe, before he's actually, I think, playing at a high college football level. But I mean, it's definitely a great addition to start the class. I'm really excited about it. Hose gets to go watch him play.
I was actually going to mention that. Yeah, it's a guy right in my backyard now, so I'll try to check out some of his games this next football season. But pretty much everything Brandon said, the kid is the most impressive thing is his frame, because he is right now he stands at 5'11", according to pretty much every single recruiting platform. He might get to 6 feet tall by the time he gets to college. That all depends on his growth, but he's got long ass arms, and he might not even really have to bulk up that much. If he can get to that 185, 190, if he can carry the speed, he's going to be a problem to try to throw against, because he not only does he have those long arms to get his hands on the ball, but he is a good tackler right now. So if he can, again, it's really just about the strength, because once you get to college, the instincts, once you learn the playbook, kick in, and you see that with really, really good players. But if you can't keep up physically, you're just going to get run over. So if he can get some strength, keep that speed that he has, hopefully get a little faster as he trained with Schmitty, he will be a good defensive back. Will he play on the outside? I think that will just depend on matchup. I could see him maybe being more of a nickel because of his frame and the defensive backs that are at Oklahoma right now and that are being recruited. And you look at Makari Vickers, you look at Jacoby Johnson, Kenai Walker, 6'1", 6'2", 6'3" guys that are more than likely going to be competing for those outside corner spots. So Newcomb does maybe fit a little bit more of a nickel position, or even safety. He plays really good at corner, but maybe his height just lends him more to safety, because you saw Billy Bowman coming out of high school was a good corner. Not the tallest dude, but he is fast and has incredible ball skills. Got moved to safety once Venables came in. So he might have that kind of trajectory once he gets to college, but he's the first guy. He gets to be one of the leaders of this 24 class and a leader for the defensive side of the ball for this recruiting cycle.
Yeah, it's always nice when you pick up, a top 20 corner in the entire class. He's 209 overall, number 18 corner in the class, 4-star. And he plays both sides of the ball. Last year he ended up having 35 catches for 516 yards, nearly 15 yards a catch. 5 touchdowns. He also ran the ball a little bit. And then obviously he played defense. And, he had a lot of all-purpose yards. He played all over the place. You really can't, there's nothing not to like about it. He had 62 total tackles, a tackle for loss. So, a guy that can play everywhere. And then he also, I believe he meets in track and field. Obviously, he's being recruited as a defensive back for this class. And it kind of makes you wonder if you think about, take a step back and think about it in the big picture. Is playing defensive back for Oklahoma becoming an attractive spot? Because, this is early for a cycle to be picking up kids. It's not super early, but it's still early. Most of the time, it seemed like Oklahoma was at the last minute picking up defensive backs. Like it's almost like we were a second option or a third option, and their first and second got picked up, filled up. It seems like, obviously he had his pick wherever he wanted to go, and there was no reason why he couldn't wait. But maybe it was more of he was concerned that his spot was going to be filled. He had offers from Michigan, Michigan State, Nebraska, Ole Miss, USC. Washington, Wisconsin. He could have gone pretty much anywhere he wanted to go, but yet he went out, visited Oklahoma, called Norman home. I don't know for sure. Do you guys know if he's been on campus more than once? I'm pretty sure he just made one visit and that was it.
That sounds right to me from everything that I was digging up. And what's also impressive for Jay Valai is he was able to get into new territory and which is USC territory, UCLA territory, Oregon territory, and in a way, Arizona State, even though they kind of stink and Micah Dillingham's trying to bring him back, he's recruited against really big programs and was able to pull a kid from really a new place for him to get to Norman. And that just shows how well he is at making those connections, and hopefully a guy that can stay with Oklahoma for a few more years to help build that defensive back room to be what, Alabama was at one point. And I think it's kind of going in that right direction.
Yeah, him and Coach Hall are doing a hell of a job. That room is going to be loaded with competition moving forward, this next season and beyond. Like, it's going to be tough to lock down a starting job for anybody there. There's a lot of talent there. And that's obviously a really good problem to have as Oklahoma fans. The best 3 or 4 dudes will be out there, and they should be pretty qualified with the dudes that they beat out. You just mentioned Vickers and Josiah Wagner and Kenai Walker, and then plus you just get Jeremiah Newcomb, and I'm sure we're going to get more in the 24 class. I think there's going to be 8 to 9 really, really competent defensive backs, dudes that we would feel comfortable with starting. Jacoby Johnson, and obviously only 3 or 4 can start, so it's going to be a loaded room and it should be pretty deep. And we should be solid with all the competition that's coming out of it.
And I don't know if Brandon, you said it or Jose did, but whoever said he has really good ball skills, it's true. He has 13 interceptions, and he was playing as a freshman as a defensive back. Last year, he only had 2 picks, but his sophomore season, he ended up having 7 interceptions. Freshman year, he had 4. So 13 interceptions over, for the first 3 years of his high school career is pretty impressive. An athletic kid that Oklahoma's added to his class, or to their class. It's a good start, into March. We're about to roll into April. I think this next 3 to 4 months, next 3 to 4 months is going to be huge for Oklahoma. You got Hawkins coming, announcing his commitment in the next 2 weeks or so, I think April 8th. A lot of good momentum is about to start, and he's just the domino, the first domino to fall. Not that we ever really thought he was going to be a part of this class this early, but at the end of the day, if he's ready to join the fold and he knows where to call home, it's good to always have someone to start recruiting peers. So kind of came out of the blue. Getting more gooder. I agree. So you guys have any more thoughts? Obviously positive, top 20 corner. Nothing to complain about here.
Real good. 13 picks, really good, but watch him and his help in the run game. I think he sheds blocks really, really well, and I think that's almost more impressive to me than the 13 interceptions. Him being able to make tackles and care about the run game, because sometimes those corners, they're like receivers. They don't really want to be out there on running plays, and he's the opposite of that. He's always involved in making plays out there, and I think that speaks a lot to his game.
I was going to mention he has a Jalen Ramsey-like frame, and the way he plays isn't that far off. Obviously, Jalen Ramsey's one of the best in the NFL right now, so it's hard to say he is that guy, but he can get to that if he works his ass off, and he's got the coaches that will put him in the right position with this defensive minded, Sooner staff.
Definitely. So pretty good stuff. If I don't have anything else, unless you guys do, Brandon can do the in-video challenge. I got an idea what it'll be, but I'll turn it over to him.
Well, there will be two, I guess. So yeah, obviously talk about Jeremiah Newcomb. We're all excited. I think he could be a quality player for Oklahoma. Like I said, maybe 2 or 3 years down the road, he could be a starter or a very big piece on the defense. So we're all excited there. Also, Florida Atlantic beat Kansas State today, guys. They're a 9 seed. They made it to the Final Four. I'm big time owling up. So I want to know if anybody actually had Florida Atlantic and anybody in the world had Florida Atlantic to go this far in any of their 12 brackets. And why do you want them to win the national title at this point? Because I assume we're all going for the Owls now. If you're not going for the Owls, you're an idiot. That's how I feel.
I'd be fine with the Owls. Creighton wouldn't be that bad either.
Yeah. Go Owls.
But the Owls would be cool. Yeah. So no sane person would have had Florida Atlantic. You would have probably had to have been an alum to pick them to go this far.
Pick Florida Atlantic to go this far.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right, made it this far. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Apple, Spotify, and TikTok. Everything's linked in the description below. Again, Jose and I will be back for more of a full weekend recap. Obviously, it was a very fruitful weekend already, and there's more to come. So be sure to tune in Monday morning.